Hello everybody to the second weekly ESPL series hosted, of course, by Eat, Sleep, Play. I am going to be your caster this morning for me, very early indeed. My name is Briefcase, and along me is my lovely and endearing co-caster Mito.
What's up, guys?
And hopefully you will hear him giggle ever so slightly at some point throughout the cast. It's just so cute, everybody. But nonetheless, let's get into it just a bit. Of course, this is the ESPL league that's going on right now. For anybody who's watching has no idea what is going on, and it's just a weekly tournament, obviously $100 up every week for that little extra incentive. And after about 3 months, whoever has the most league points is going to be going to a big old tournament, the ESPL main event. Going to have at least $5,000 as a prize pool, and you're going to be playing against Speed Gaming and Sigma. It should be a pretty fun time for everybody involved, and overall, just a hoot. You know, just a lovely hoot, I think. But let's get into the draft, because that's really what we're here for, is looking at some good Dota. So right off the bat, Mito, what are you thinking of these pickups and bans? Pretty standard as far as the bans are concerned.
Yeah, they're going pretty fast. I don't quite understand why rOtK banned out the OD, because Invoker, once it gets a couple of levels, once you have Force Spirits and Cold Snap going, it has a pretty easy time harassing the OD out of the and zoning the hero out of the lane. But yeah, Alchemist, standard. That hero is just so freaking strong. Looking at Gamers League's bans, Pugna, Bristleback. Yeah, when you see the OD ban, immediately you react by banning out the Bristleback. Because Bristleback, he's very prone to pure damage. And OD is a hero who does pure damage with the Arcane Orb. As well as a Sheepstick on the hero, it just destroys because it removes the Bristleback effect. And in terms of pickups, Invoker and Doom versus Storm and Timbersaw. Yeah, it's pretty good. Invoker, one of the most popular heroes right now, being picked up in almost every single game. And I guess the Doom is just to counteract both the Timbersaw as well as Storm Spirit, depending on which one he wants to shut down during team fights.
Oh yeah, and I think, overall, I quite like the Storm Spirit Timbersaw combo. Kind of difficult to deal with and really forces your opponents to get some lockdown, even if that's not what they were intending to do. But yeah, like you were saying, Invoker just so popular nowadays because of the recent buff, him getting 2 spells by level 3. And I don't know about you, but I absolutely love that change. It kind of like puts him back into the spotlight of still being really viable, but it doesn't necessarily make him broken. It's just like one of my favorite little buffs, or pretty big buffs, that's happened. And now actually a Luna being picked up, and for me this feels kind of early right now, like. And not only that, I'm a little scared for her. She's kind of squishy, and Invoker and Doom can really throw out quite a bit of damage pretty early on, and if Chen gets any amount of really nice creeps, you know, a troll, Luna's just going to be food.
Well, looking at Gamers League, the 3 heroes, pretty much the strats already given away. Well, at least how they're going to lane is going to be a Timbersaw off lane, Luna as a carry, Storm as a mid solo, predictable lanes, but now they pick up a Wraith King. Wraith King is a hero that we've been experimenting in my team as well, and it's great because it provides a vampiric aura for even range heroes. So all the heroes in his team, everybody is going to benefit from some form of lifesteal. The question for me is whether the Wraith King will be able to help out their teammates deal with heroes like Chen, Doom, and Invoker. He's got 1 stun, and essentially he has to die in order to get the slow going for his team. And I just don't know how much this hero would provide, but it is a very interesting pickup. And rOtK's fan club, oh, I'm loving the draft right now. They've got good tanky heroes, Doom in the front line. They've got split pushing with the Nature's Prophet or Invoker with Necromicons, yeah. Or they can just group up and push as a team. They have so many things they can do with this lineup. It's versatile. What I'm slightly worried about is their lockdown isn't that great. Sure, they have a Doom, but they can only use it on 1 hero, and the safest bet is probably a Storm. But then, like, then once you use the Doom, how are you gonna stop heroes like Timbersaw from just moving across the map and dealing tons of damage?
Oh yeah.
For that to happen, they need items on Nature's Prophet. They need to farm up the heroes. So they have 3 core heroes who need a lot of gold. And whether Gamers League can capitalize on the timing before they get the big items is something that I think we should be looking out for.
Oh yeah, and one thing I was going to mention is that whenever you do see a Wraith King in a game, at least my knee-jerk reaction is, okay, is this guy going to actually be able to get into fights, or is he going to get kited around all day long, as I've seen in just every single pub? But with the lineup that Gamers League already has, with Timbersaw there and Storm Spirit, there's kind of more important heroes to get that lockdown onto. So I think Wraith King's actually going to be able to pull something a little bit out for his team right there, and hopefully we'll be able to actually get into combat. The only thing I can really think that would stop him is Invoker, maybe some Chen creeps, or a Nature's Prophet Sprout, but I mean with Timbersaw there, the Sprout probably going to be pretty meaningless, and so at least this is a lineup that I feel Wraith King can contribute as far as legitimately damage and some fighting in there. Because sometimes you just see him and he can't do anything. He just chases people around and never catches them.
The problem is rOtK fan club, they're not, well, looking at these 4 heroes, they're not really looking to kill your individual heroes. The question is, when they start the push, what heroes can efficiently defend towers? And from the 4 heroes being picked up by Gamers League, the only hero who can do some form of defensive plays is Timbersaw. But now they pick up the Silencer, and this will allow them to engage at their will. Just having the Storm roll in, pop the global silence, and then Timbersaw just jumps in, Luna follow up, or just having the Wraith King initiate as well. They have so many options now. Silencer is a hugely underrated hero, and I can't quite remember who, but recently I saw a post, I think it was from Team Empire. They love the Silencer, and they're saying it's a hero that fits into almost any lineup. And I have to agree, but the pushing abilities coming out from rOtK fan club is
oh my god, the push, man.
pretty darn scary. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. And so let's get into it a little bit, shall we? And who exactly is playing who in this game? Over here on Gamers League, it looks like we're gonna have Dr. Ulben, who I've been told is the way you say that A in that name. Dr. Ulben. Restart, but oh no, what's the case now? Looks like, oh well, nonetheless, looks like Ulben will be back, or Ulben will be right back. We're gonna have Kato gonna be playing this Wraith King, RB Dash, Rainbow Dash more likely than not. RB Dash gonna be this Timbersaw, Maz Cud gonna be playing as the Storm Spirit, and Liquid Nova as the Luna. And my friend Mito, during this little pause break, gives us ample time to go over who is playing who. Would you like to take rOtK, my friend?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it's gonna be a carry Doom, farming in a safe lane. Just having the Invoker. Oh yeah, sorry. So the Doom is being played by Corrin, and yeah, it's gonna be a carry Doom. And for the mid solo, we have Fit playing on the Invoker, and he's getting pulled by his teammates. And we have Muzz playing the support Shadow Shaman, and he already has both sets of the wards. And we have Report Wildly playing on the support Chen. And finally, we have Rixu playing as the offlane Nature's Prophet. It's quite interesting. He already brought up a brown boot, so seems like he's expecting to be up against the tri lane, I suppose. But as a Furion, you don't ever need to buy your items so early. You should always summon the Treants, them scout around the map, figure out the enemy lanes, and then you can buy your items a lot later on.
Oh yeah, see exactly what's happening and how basically the laning stage is gonna go. And it looks like right off the bat, Gamers League trying to set up something with this smoke. Obviously 5-man and I mean they do have a pretty nice little assortment of heroes to guarantee those kills there, just with the stuns and the damage that can come out. Should be pretty nice. And if Corrin gets picked off this early, I mean that's gonna be a pretty big hit to him right now, and he's actually retiring back to the tier 2, and I think this is probably the safest thing he can do. He doesn't really know where anybody is. They're finally scouting out with the Trents, little fungus Trents right now, but they haven't really found anybody yet. And I mean, if those fungus Trents don't reveal them, then I mean this could be actually a blessing in disguise. But that smoke may be going down a bit early and now already faded.
Oh yeah, to be honest though, it's not that big if the Doom gets first blooded. It's just like, he only has 29 gold anyhow, and he's gonna still make it to the lane before the creeps come out, but what would become pretty bad is Gamers League, the heroes, especially the supports, if they get the kills, will have additional gold and will get XP as well, so they can just start rotating and making plays happen across the map.
Right now, looks like Dr. Ulban and Kato trying their very best to stop this Chen from getting anything out of this map, and it looks like they're going to be quite successful at it. They've already blocked the big camp. They're blocking the medium camp right now. This camp has blocked the big one as well, I would assume, from this ward. So, I mean, this Chen looks like he's going to have a pretty rough time to start. And now getting harassed down by Ulban, and Kato is there, gets the stun off, so just harassing him, trying to make sure he gets absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so big. Chen can always rotate into the enemy jungle. This actually is going to be pretty scary for Gamers League and the safe lane solo Timbersaw as well as the mid solo Storm. Because that just means Chen will be rotating between these two lanes and applying pressure on both.
Oh yeah, and like you just said, he can always rotate into the enemy jungle, and that seems to be exactly what he's doing. So, I mean, how do you feel that as Gamers League, putting down all those wards, spending all that time and money just to have the Chen go into the opposing jungle, do you think it's a waste, or do you think it's, I mean, yeah, it's good, you get him over there, maybe you can gank him a bit easier?
I feel it's a bit of a waste. As you see, like, Chen's already smoked up, making rotations towards mid. Invoker has Sunstrike, and if he wants to, he can always invoke the Cold Snap or Ice Wall, depending on what suits him better. But you're running aggressive trial lane, and Chen isn't affected at all. The only thing that's being affected is the Doom. But Doom can always use Devour, and he's not gonna fall. He's gonna fall behind by much.
Looks like
and that's engagement at mid.
But nothing coming of it, and it looks like Yate.exe or Report Wildly, whichever one you want to say, getting pot-shotted by the tower a little bit. Gonna be a little bit low on the HP if anybody wants to try and find him, but doesn't seem to be going that way. And it looks like Kato and Ulban. Kato's still only level 1. Ulban now just hitting level 2. They're gonna smoke up, and it looks like they're gonna try and take down this Chen and try and make those wards all worth it. So, I mean, let's see if they can actually pull this off right now. And it looks like Yate doesn't quite know it. He knows it now. Does have a Troll Warlord, always to ensnare. Doesn't matter. And while that's, of course, happening, we miss First Blood. At the very least, I do, by RB Dash in the top lane. Now it looks like Chen does pick up a regen, and body blocking kind of nicely. Does lose it out, but with that regen, I don't know what Kato can really do. He's only level 1. All an Invoker needs to do is run over here, throw down a Cold Snap and a Sunstrike, and Kato is going to be in a heap of trouble. Does get out of there in time, however.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that First Blood to be at top. Furion did start out with boots, and sure, Timbersaw has 2 levels into Timber Chain, but, I mean, if you just stand back as a Furion, it's pretty darn hard for Timbersaw to get a solo pick off.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw their portraits overlapping, and I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's a Timber Chain into him. But I mean, nonetheless, he did get picked off there. So I'm sorry, everybody, but there's action going on, all of that. But as far as this bot lane is concerned, I mean, Kato, he seems to be this sort of roaming Wraith King right now, and nothing too much is really happening. I mean, Chen is actually he didn't get picked off in the opposing jungle, obviously. He's still finding a couple creeps. He's got a clapping tomato now. Now they're actually making something happen onto Corrin. Doesn't look like they have the damage to finish him off, however. And Kato, not enough mana to actually stun once again. And it looks like Report Wildly trying to get this clapping tomato into the fray. Kato's still pretty low. Ulban, pretty low as well. And so, I mean, but with that flask, or I should say salve, going to be healing up pretty much to full. And now it looks like Report Wildly doing a little bit of rune control, and his buddy, the Invoker's gotta be loving that.
Wow, Luna is so low. He just got hit by the Sunstrike.
Now Kato really far forward. Not sure what he's doing there. Gonna be falling to Corrin for almost nothing. Ulban might be falling as well. Rixu chooses the wrong path. Still gets the hit, though. And it looks like Gamers League just making a couple of little misplays there.
Wow, yeah. I have no idea why they chased so far for a support roster, but yeah, in return, their trial lane is starting to run into problems. Something good that they can do though is start stacking up for the Luna. just preparing those ancients, and they can always
It looks
catch
like
up.
RB Dash onto Rixu on the top and will find the kill, and those brown boots just doing absolutely nothing for him as soon as he's inside that chakram.
Oh yeah, Timbersaw. If Timbersaw gets such a good start like he is right now, he might just have enough to stop the push with the chakram and then just like manning up and just going in, and then have the global silence do a follow up. Yeah, so it's still pretty even as of now.
Oh yeah, I mean, this tri-lane not doing exactly what you want it to do, but Timbersaw just having terrific start in the top lane. He's got 25 last hits. He's sitting at, what, 2 solo kills on the Nature's Prophet as well, I believe? Yes, indeed. And, I mean, overall just having a pretty good time there, and looks like FIP? Yes, it is FIP as the Invoker, using these little beasties for that rune control, and that's exactly what you want to do. He's also got his buddy, the Chen, doing rune control for him as well, and so, I mean, this Storm Spirit not getting the runes that he obviously wants, not getting them, and you really, as a Storm Spirit, if you're not getting your bottle runes, you almost feel like you need to be bottle crowing a lot of the time.
Yep, and I'm just gonna write up a certain scenario right now. If the supports from Gamers League rotate mid right now, and because Storm already hit 6, they can get easy initiation, and they can definitely kill the Invoker, and see, they have the exact same idea I have in mind. Yes, they are smoked up rotating mid, and I wonder if rOtK would notice.
But I mean, this for me seems like it's hard to say. I don't want to say that it's obvious, but it feels slightly obvious simply because they've actually been babysitting the Luna, and every single time they've gone out and smoked and tried to gank somebody, you just notice that they're not in lane, and it looks like rOtK kind of sees that. They're starting to push in a little bit. Muzz still is not quite level 6, and now with this smoke going this way, it looks like Gamers League realizing that they actually need to turn around, and they might be able to find a courier kill for their troubles here. Now it looks like they don't know quite who to go on. Actually going for the Muzz as well as Corrin. Not too sure why. Muzz here. Kato can't quite do enough. Liquid Nova, though, absolutely melting, but RB Dash is there to try and follow up. Won't get sun-stricken. Rixu has ported in as well. Kato now melts. And with that, you only get a 3-for-1. You trade your carry, or maybe even 2 carries and a support for a single support, and you lose a tower. Does get the deny, however, but I mean, Gamers League not having the best of times in these lanes right now.
Yeah, their lineup, I felt they had the potential to make plays across the map, but because if they're not stacking, right, it's always very obvious when the supports are missing. So what they should have done is they should have pushed out the lane as far as they could, and then have one support, say, perhaps stack up, and then one support check the rune, and then 2 of them group up, make sure they get a D-ward, and then rotate mid. Because when the lane's pushed out, right, it's harder to say if the enemy team supports are there or not.
Oh yeah, and I think rOtK actually just capitalizing on the fact that they knew that the supports were out and about someplace for a little while, and they just, you just say, oh, well, if you're trying to smoke gank somebody, probably mid, we're just going to group up and take this tower for pretty much free, and it looks like rOtK did that pretty much exactly.
Yeah, and the biggest problem was the 2 supports from Gamers League, they were constantly trying to chase down the Chen. They've wasted quite a bit of time, so if you look at the level difference, Gamers League, the supports are level 3 and 4, respectively, whereas rOtK are level 5, both supports are level 5. So they're falling behind, and it's just going to be harder and harder for them to rotate.
Oh yeah, now we actually have a smoke coming out of Muzz and Report Wildly into this mid lane. Not too sure if it's going to be fruitful, though, and it looks like it might. Mazka does indeed get shackled, does get turned into a chicken, is not going to get out of there. So falling right there, and Rixu taking quite a bit of damage in the top lane from this Timber and Dr. Alban, but not quite enough to finish him off there. And actually, if we just look at the gold graph, now it looks like the push finally starting to come online. Muzz just needs to get level 6 for this push to basically become unstoppable in my eyes. And I mean, at almost 10 minutes, 3,000 gold advantage is still pretty nice to have, and only about 1,000 difference in experience. Not the end of the world by any means, because they've been grouping up so much. But as soon as Muzz gets those Serpent Wards, maybe Report Wildly gets another big creep, gets that level, what is it, ooh, excuse me, gets that level 4 in Holy Persuasion and is able to get 3 creeps. I just don't know if basically Timbersaw has had a good enough start to really put a damper on those pushes.
I say the core hero they need to get levels on right now is the Silencer. As long as they have the global silence, they will have a fighting chance in those team fights. But then Chen, he's pretty much almost level 6, and he's around... Oh man, my math is terrible. He's around 300 gold away from a mech. Wait, no. I'm wrong. He only has... Yeah, he does have the buckler on the courier.
Now it looks like he does get stunned, and in goes in Mazka. They're trying to take him out before the fight even begins, but of course, those little clapping tomatoes doing a lot of work. Mazka not going to be getting out of that one alive. The Doom will finish him off. Looks like not even the neutrals could get him there, and now Liquid Nova going way in there. Did throw out the Eclipse, is able to TP out in time, and with that, the push simply continues. You do have RB Dash to throw out the Chakram, but there's just too much tank coming out of rOtK right now, and it looks like Muzz has indeed hit level 6. All he needs to do is wait a little bit, and I mean, they could probably pretty easily take this, take this tier 2 if they wanted to as well. Chen's already back in the mix.
Yeah. They could have killed the Luna as well just now. Invoker had 4 staff. As long as he gave vision to the Doom, Doom could have popped the level death and canceled the TP.
So, I mean, what does Gamers League right now do? Like you said, you basically do need to get Silencer up to level 6, and that's maybe your possibility. You can still make plays, you can get a big zip in with the Storm, but Kato is just so under-leveled right now, doesn't even have Reincarnation. You don't feel as safe as you normally would, and now with the Serpent Wards, the Trents, Clapping Tomato, Doomed is a gigantic tank as well. This tower is just absolutely melting, not to mention the fact that they have Forge Spirits. There's just so many summons coming out of rOtK right now that, I mean, unless Liquid Nova somehow has basically unimpeded farm and gets level 4 into Moonglaves anytime soon, I feel like it's going to be a very, very quick Rax.
They shouldn't have even tried defending that tier 2. Instead, they should have pushed down bottom and mid. Try to get a retaliation tier 1. Because if you're behind, you don't really want to force a team fight, because obviously you're behind. So instead, you want to try and get trades in your favor. Try to make things happen on other places on the map. And now it's almost impossible to even get stacks going for Luna, because they're losing so much map control. And it looks like the push is going to start happening at mid as well. And once all the tier 2s are gone, then your ancient stacks are not safe anymore.
Oh yeah, and for Luna, who's, you know, I wouldn't say completely underfarmed at the moment, does have only 28 last hits, but, and this is just shows how scared Gamers League is of rOtK right now, and their massive push, and just good team fight right now. Liquid Nova had a double damage, couldn't do anything. Now Kato's stuck in the Sprout, and that'll actually polish him off, so Mazka now goes in, can't do a single thing, and once again, like you said, if Albin had maybe Global Silence, that wouldn't, I mean, at the very least, they'd have a better chance, but because of it now, things just not going their way, and Albin, at 13 minutes, still has not quite hit level 6, and Wraith King hasn't even hit level 5, and now it looks like Albin gonna fall pretty much guaranteed, doesn't have a TP, and will indeed, so I mean, with that, it looks like the push should probably just continue up. Doesn't look like they do have any mana boots available to kind of keep it going, but I don't think they care.
Yeah, Chen can just go to Secret Shop and buy Arcane Boots right now. But they have the Serpent Wards, they have Treants, Invoker pretty much as a goal for Necromicons. Yeah, so this is a never-ending push.
Oh yeah, and it turns out that Muzz actually had some Arcane Boots, he's got an Urn of Shadows, and with the pickoffs they're getting, this is pretty much a never-ending push, and it looks like it's going to be pretty much a guaranteed easy Rax there. Corrin just has too much tank at the moment to really worry about anything. Mazcut has not had enough farm to really be a threat by any means, and this push just continues. There's the Global Silence. Mazcut, they might be able to get Muzz. Doesn't look like that mech was quite enough to heal him up, and will they actually save their ranged barracks is what I'm thinking. Looks like the Forge Spirits are going to fall, so like you said, Dr. Albin hitting that 6, very important skill, that Global Silence. Pretty much their only saving grace at the moment, I feel, is they really just need to find those amazing pickoffs with Storm Spirit, pop the Global Silence, hopefully RB Dash is there to throw out some damage as well, basically find pickoffs, and I mean, like you said, try and get some some counter towers for when they lose something. Try and take down the bot tower, makes the jungle at least a little bit more scary for the Chen. And right now, it just looks like rOtK commanding this game, going back home to lick their wounds, and as soon as those ults and abilities are back off of cooldown, they just need to start this push up again, and it'll be never ending.
Yeah, it's slightly too little too late from Gamers League. They just don't have anything to defend against pushes, apart from a Chakram. They had the opportunity to do stuff earlier, but I guess well, they just didn't execute it that well.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate, it seems. And then now, like, I mean, Silencer is so ludicrously underfarmed. Not to say that he should have a lot of it, but he's got an urn, he's got boots of speed. That's about it. And I'd actually be worried even more about this kind of support Wraith King. I feel like this kind of an odd pickup now. Yeah, it gives everybody a little bit of vamp aura, but he's just has not been doing too much this whole game. He's got a stun that he doesn't really have enough mana to throw out consistently or many times, and now as they're trying to get a little bit of farm on their supports, on a little bit of farm on pretty much everybody, this push with all the summons in the world just once again barreling down, and there's nothing that they can do but sit back and try and defend in their base. And it looks like we have 2 Necronomicons down, one on FIP right now. Who has the second one? Looks like it's Rixu, so 2 Necros down as well. There's just absolutely nothing that Gamers League can do.
And I believe, I haven't looked yet, but my bet is if you look at the gold graph difference, it should be pretty darn big, at least 10k.
15,000,
XP
my friend.
The XP probably won't be that different. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a look as well.
Yeah, just take a gander.
Yeah, because in a push strat, people won't get that.
Now there's a global silence, but will it be enough? They just want to take down Wildly, but that mechanism comes out. So does Hand of God, and with that, an instant buyback coming out of the storm. Looks like Kato can't really do too much. RB Dash stuck in a corner as well. So I mean, once again, Gamers League just getting absolutely nothing out of these engagements, using up pretty much all their cooldowns. And rOtK using almost nothing. Now they find a Silencer out and about. Not sure what he was doing, but couldn't do anything nonetheless. And it just looks now like this, pretty much everything shattering down. And with the mana boots, the Urn of Shadows as well, now rOtK knows they can take the freest of Roches, the easiest and simplest ones, and everything will be scouted out, of course, with with summons if they need to. But taking the very, I wouldn't say easy way out, but the safest way ever to try and take these fights. And without Global Silence, which they know is on cooldown, I just feel like there's nothing the Gamers League can do.
Yeah, I just want to promote my favorite hero. Imagine if Gamers League had a Tinker. And a Farm Tinker, of course. Yeah.
True, could go a little bit differently. He'd be, I shouldn't say flash farming, but going all over the map, providing quite a bit more rune control. At least a couple of these towers, I feel, would be in a markedly worse state. And now all that rOtK has to do is rotate top, start that push once again. Chen's got his Hand of God available in about 70 seconds. How long till Global Silence? 40 there, so it looks like Gamers League will at least have Global Silence available at some point during this push, but right now it's just absolutely not enough to deal with it. Just the Necronomicons, they have too many summons even without having their spells available, and there's Necro 3 now, I should say, on FIP, Necro 3 as well on Rixu. There's absolutely nothing they can do.
Wow, look at the zoo.
Oh my god. I think this is probably the most summons I've ever seen at one point in a game.
Think about if you were a Tinker, how much money you would have made off all of these summons. Sure, you might die from the 2 Necro books though, but you'd be pretty happy.
Oh yeah, and then Mazcud, what can he do? He actually gets doomed as well. Korn pops the BKB, and there's the GG coming out of Gamers League, and rOtK with a fairly decisive victory pre-20 minutes, and just the amount of summons, the Zoo strat, coming out pretty ahead for them right there. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Obviously, this is the weekly ESPL series. This is the second one, so it's number 2, of course. I've been Briefcase casting this game for you, along with my handsome co-caster Mito.
Yep, thanks for watching, guys.
And I mean, with that, as far as I know, we're just trying to wrap these early games up pretty quickly. So I suppose we should simply get into the next one. Shouldn't be too long of a wait, I don't believe. But the semifinals will be coming up, everybody. So let's go look at that, shall we? In a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, but